This is Cruise Radio.
I cruise a lot, and I always sail with travel insurance. You should, too. Get a free quote today at tripinsurance.com.
Broadcasting from the tripinsurance.com studios in Jacksonville, Florida.
This is
Cruise Radio.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Doug Parker. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Cruise Radio. Very happy to have you here, my friend. A review of Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas this week. And staff writer Richard Sims is here with Cruise News. Hey, Richard.
Hey, Doug. I'm here to catch us up, but where are you? I like playing this little game of where in the world is Doug Parker.
Abu Dhabi last week and in Boracay in the Philippines this week.
Nice life.
So here we go with the news, kicking things off with a new record being broken in Nassau.
Yeah, talk about a busy day in Nassau. It looks like on June 8th, 33,254 passengers visited the port. And that obviously shattered the previous record. And what was the previous record? It was 30,538. So about 3,000 more people. And that was back in March 11th of 2025. All in all, there were 6 ships in port this day from a variety of cruise lines. We had a lot of what you can call mega ships, which explains how they had so many people there. So which ships helped break the record? Royal Caribbean's Oasis of the Seas and Allure of the Seas, Carnival Celebration, Mardi Gras, Disney Fantasy, and the Caribbean Princess. And what did the lucky passengers who took part in the shattering of this record receive? I'm sure a warm welcome from the many, many shopkeepers who are happy to have them come up ashore and spend their money.
Meanwhile, another popular port was shut down this week for the second time thanks to this new controversial regulation.
Yeah, we've talked over the past couple of years about how Santorini is not only a popular port, but so popular that it's been dealing with over-tourism issues. Well, a regulation was recently passed with what is known as the 70-30 rule. It basically says that when ships arrive, up to 70% of cruise passengers must be tendered to the historic old port of Fira Bay, while only 30% are allowed to arrive at the commercial bus hub at Anthios Port. Now, that doesn't mean when your ship arrives, like they divide you up and say, you 70% go over here and you 30% go over here. It's by ship and by load. Well, this is creating all kinds of chaos. And of course, is very unpopular with the bus drivers because up until now, most passengers were dropped right there at the hub and they would get on the tour buses and they would go. Those tour drivers are so upset that they went on strike, which resulted in the port having to be closed on Monday. Now, just imagine you've been planning to visit Santorini, which is like a total bucket list destination. I know it's on my bucket list. Imagine getting there only to find out that the port you were most excited about on your cruise was closed. Worse, even if you do make it to Santorini, getting around has become something of a nightmare with people having to use a cable car that can only handle about 1,200 people an hour, or you can take a hike up the cliffs, or if you're lucky, you're one of the people who get to go on the tour buses. But all in all, it is just not a good situation, and there's no real indication of how or when this will be resolved.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the ship schedule here right now, the port schedule, and things are still being swapped.
Can you imagine how much the people at not only the cruise lines on shore, but the guest services desks on these ships? Can you imagine what they're getting slammed with?
And sad news out of Seward, Alaska, where all signs point to a cruise ship striking an endangered whale.
Unfortunately, it's even worse. The whale in question was not only endangered, but pregnant. Experts did a necropsy, on the 61-foot fin whale, which indicated that her injuries were consistent with having been struck by a vessel. It's assumed she was hit by Royal Caribbean's Ovation of the Seas because she was basically sort of on the bow of the ship when it arrived. The Anchorage Daily News reached out to Royal Caribbean with questions, and while they didn't receive answers to their direct questions, they did get a response. The cruise line said they were, and I'm quoting here, quote, saddened to hear that one of our ships struck a whale while on its way to Seward. We take any impact to marine ecosystems very seriously. The cruise line went on to say that the ship immediately reported the incident to the proper authorities, and they are cooperating fully with the investigating parties. A full investigation into the whale's death will take several months to complete, but between the testing they did and Royal's statement, it seems pretty clear what happened there. I just learned today that and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, a necropsy. It doesn't sound like I'm pronouncing it right, but it is what you call an autopsy when it's conducted on an animal. I also learned today that a fin whale, which is what this was, they are the second largest whale species on Earth, with the only bigger whale being the blue whale.
And in other Royal Caribbean news, the line is making a previously exclusive venue a little less exclusive, but for a price.
Yeah, depending on who you talk to, this is either an amazing change or a complete denigration of perks offered to suite guests. So here's the deal. Guests who sail in some of the biggest, fanciest suites on Royal Caribbean ships get obviously a wide variety of perks, one of which is an exclusive dining venue known as Coastal Kitchen. This is pretty common on cruise lines now, that suite guests or those staying in a special ship within a ship area like the Retreat on Celebrity or the Yacht Club on MSC, those guests have special dining areas that are for those guests only. It's one of the perks they're paying for. Well, now Royal is saying that if you are sailing in a Sky or Star class of suite and you want to have a meal with friends who aren't in a suite, you can do so, as long as you're willing to pay for them to come into this private venue. It'll cost you $15 per guest for breakfast, $20 per guest for lunch, and $25 per guest for dinner. How many guests you're allowed to invite depends on the type of suite. It's either 2 or 4, depending on the type of suite. And it also all depends on availability. So, you may want to do it and not be able to. They suggest that if you have a cruise booked and you are traveling with people who are not in a suite and you want to take part in this, that you should really call ASAP and make a reservation. If you haven't done it before you get on board, you certainly should do as soon as you do embark. How people are feeling about this is kind of a mixed bag. Some are saying, it's great that people who aren't in a suite can join their friends who are. Others, of course, say, hey, you want this perk? You should pay to stay in a suite. I did. This comes right on the heels of Norwegian Cruise Line doing something sort of similar in that they now allow, if you're staying in the Haven and you have friends who are staying in a connecting room, it has to be a room that is connected to the Haven, and you have to be sort of a travel party that's traveling together, that you can bring those guests at no charge into the Haven to enjoy a meal. In both cases, the guest who is staying in the Haven or on Royal Caribbean in the suite must be dining with the guest. It's not like it's enough to just say, oh, I have friends who are staying in the suite and they made a reservation for me. Those friends, those people staying in the suite have to be with you when you go to the restaurant.
Since you've been talking to a lot of people about this over the past week, is this a money grab or are people asking for this? What is the consensus?
I would say it's both. It is a money grab. I mean, cruise lines, as we've certainly learned in the last few years, will, find any way they can to make money. But, I was talking to people about this, and one of the things that I heard a lot was, listen, Coastal Kitchen is usually very busy on the first day, but after that, it sort of peters out as people sort of, spread around the ship and find their places and things. So if it doesn't impact, the ability of paying suite guests to enjoy this perk, then most people don't seem to have a problem with it. But where the problem comes in is if, suddenly you're not able to get a reservation because, oh, look, there's all these non-suite guests in there. That's where you're going to see people having an issue with it.
And it wouldn't be a week of cruise news without reporting on someone fighting either, on a ship or in a terminal.
Yeah, man, I would love to never have to report on this kind of behavior again, but here we go. 16 people were permanently banned from Carnival Cruise Line after getting into a brawl in the Miami port terminal. This happened as Carnival Conquest was debarking. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol had to step in and try and help break things up. At least one of the officials who was involved in helping break it up was injured, although it was reportedly nothing serious, thank God. Earlier this week, we ran a story on Cruise Radio asking if cruise lines should share a universal no-sail list. In other words, if you're banned from one cruise line, like say you're banned from Royal Caribbean, should you automatically go on a list that goes to all of the other cruise lines, not just the cruise lines that are associated with Royal Caribbean, but all cruise lines, whether it's MSC or Carnival, saying this person is banned? Should it be basically a no-sail list that is universal, sort of like we have a universal no-fly list? Out of the hundreds of comments that story received, I think there was one person who thought it was a bad idea, and they had kind of an interesting, explanation for why. But it's not likely to happen for a variety of reasons, including there's not really a single government entity that monitors cruises the way the TSA does flights. So it also has to do with data sharing and stuff like that. So it's very unlikely that we will ever see this, but I kind of have to agree. I think it would be really nice. I will say the one person who disagreed with this, who said it shouldn't necessarily happen, his argument was, if it is a first offense, you should be given a chance. Maybe you got caught up in something. Maybe, it wasn't really your fault, whatever. If it's a second offense, then yes, you go on the no sail list. And I kind of understood that. That made sense. But overall, readers unanimously agreed this was something that should be done.
And let's wrap this up with a story I know you're excited about.
You're right. I mean, okay, if this was a Tito's story, you'd be all over it, but it's not. It's for me. And not only am I excited by this story, but it also proved to be a teachable moment, much like the whale story, because I was today years old when I realized that Bulleit, which is one of my favorite bourbons, is actually spelled Bulleit. I also learned the difference between a single barrel bourbon and your standard bourbon. Why? Because it turns out that as part of their celebration of America's 250th birthday, Carnival will be selling a very special limited edition single barrel bourbon in gift shops aboard 14 of their ships. As it turns out, single barrel bourbon is sort of what it claims to be. With traditional bourbons, a bunch of different barrels are all mixed together willy-nilly. And when it comes to single barrel bourbons, every drop in a bottle comes from one barrel, which gives it a more unique taste. These bottles will be selling for $59.99 a pop, which is about mid-range for what a single barrel bourbon typically goes for. It can be anywhere from like $30 or $40 up to about $100, $125. As a Bulleit drinker, this seems like a very, very good price for a single barrel Bulleit. So I'm hoping that I get on one of these 14 ships, or someone I know gets on one of these 14 ships and gets me a bottle of this bourbon because I want it.
All right, we'll wrap it with that. Staff writer Richard Sims, as always, thank you.
As always, glad to be here.
Have a tip or a lead on a news story? Let us know. Email tips@cruiseradio.net.
A big question we get at Cruise Radio is, how do I know if I need trip insurance? Simple answer. If you're getting on a plane, taking a road trip, or getting on a cruise ship, you need to have travel insurance. Hey, it's Doug Parker from my friends at tripinsurance.com. Not only does tripinsurance.com protect your vacation investment, but it also gives you peace of mind in case anything were to go wrong on your trip. How do they do it? They offer 3 different types of trip insurance policies. Good, better, and best. One policy for every vacation budget. But it doesn't just stop there. They're up to 40% lower when you shop around on other comparison sites. Plus, tripinsurance.com offers 24-hour customer support before, during, and after your trip, online claims assistance, and travel alerts to let you know what's going on at your destination. But find out for yourself. Check out tripinsurance.com. Michael and Tiffany just returned from a 7-night Eastern Caribbean cruise on one of the world's largest cruise ships, Icon of the Seas. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, excited to talk to y'all again. And this time we're going to go to Florida. We normally chat with you sailing out of Galveston. So you're in the is Kansas the Midwest?
Yeah, people call it the Midwest. I think it's really considered the Central Plains.
Okay. Well, you're in the Central Plains. We'll call it that too. And you have to make your way over to Florida for this 7-night cruise. Give me some pre-cruise thoughts here. What made you want to fly over to Florida for this one?
I think when we booked it, we were probably going to couple it with a visit to see my family. But my wife just recently got a new job, and she doesn't have a lot of PTO, and she's not trying to leave work for that long. So we just end up just doing the 7 days or 8 days and coming right back home.
You mentioned you were going to see your family over there. Did you do any pre-cruise time in PortMiami before the sailing?
We just flew in the night before.
Okay.
And, luckily enough, we flew American and all the flights were on time, which
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
All
there
too
was
well.
no problems with TSA or anything, huh?
Yeah, not at all.
Pre-cruise time in Miami, how was it?
We stayed right in Brickell area. So before the cruise, I don't know if you remember all the hype about how bad traffic was in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So I was almost buying into it, and I was going to try to leave a little early, like about 10. But something told me just wait, because we had an 11:30 check-in and head to the port. Yes, there is a lot of construction. You wind all the way down to where the ship is, and then all the way back, almost to the Virgin terminal again, and then back down to where Icon was. But it still only took like 27 minutes at the most. And then once we got out the Uber, I think it was 15 minutes back.
Gosh, yeah, it was so quick. It was like you blink and you're already in there.
Yeah. So I would say 15 minutes from curb to ship.
And what hotel did you stay at in Brickell?
We actually stayed at the Aloft, which I usually do like those hotels.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is a bit dated, and my wife, she could not stand the smell.
No, I didn't like it. It smelled weird, and it was not my favorite. And I couldn't think of anything but the smell.
That's disappointing to hear because Aloft is part of Marriott.
And like I say, they're always great
Mm-hmm.
and modern. The common areas were fine, but the room just smelled weird to her. And I smelled it too, but it wasn't it didn't bother me as much, but it really, really bothered her.
Well, hopefully better smells are on the horizon. Super cheesy segue, I know. But you board in Terminal A, 10 minutes. What were your first impressions once you stepped on board Icon of the Seas?
First impression is it's beautiful. It's huge. And it's not overwhelming, but man, it sure is big.
Honestly, you really do notice like how they improved on the Oasis class ships to the Icon class and just how easy it is to get place to place. I love the ability to walk from the, what do you call it? Not the boardwalk. I'm drawing a blank. Surfside.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk out of Surfside, you can walk up to Central Park or walk down to the promenade and all that stuff. So I do think that's really cool how they do that.
I'm curious, since you have sailed the Oasis class before and you're walking onto this Icon class ship, is we'll call it the promenade, is it set up pretty much the same where it's straight through the entire ship and your different sections and your different zones? It's
mostly set up, both sides are fully or up and down, like the upper level and lower level are fully walkable. So that's the one difference, which is, it's real nice. And there's also a staircase that'll take you up to Central Park. Or down, I can't remember. Oh, it's up. Yeah, up to Central Park. And then there's the over by the Pearl Cafe. You have the open window and everything. So it's perfect the way it's set up compared to the promenade that was on Oasis. Yeah. It was just an improvement for sure.
It's funny, as you were just talking, I was scribbling the word Pearl because I was going to ask you about, so you spoke of the Pearl Cafe, but that fixture there as you go into the Pearl Cafe, can you speak on that?
Oh, yeah, that's just big, really big, circular looking pearl.
It's really open, yeah. It looks really open. It's really pretty.
Yeah, it's definitely, obviously one of the big photo spots that everybody wants to take pictures and everything. But even with that, there's plenty of room to walk up there. And it's sort of strange. So like when they do events in that promenade area, people actually sit on the side of those stairs. And I think that's the way it's intended to be like seats. So, it's a real smart way that they put everything together there, honestly. So
let's talk about your stateroom. What kind of stateroom did you book on this 7-night cruise? And what did y'all think of it throughout the week?
We had a standard balcony, room 12222, which was easy to remember. It was a regular old balcony. Everything great about it. The only thing we don't like are the stupid drawers. I think you've heard that before with the cages that they have instead of actual drawers. I don't know why they went to that design. They're noisy.
When you pull them out, they squeak.
Yeah, they squeak really bad, make a lot. And, we're trying to be courteous. I don't want to be up at 3 a.m. or something, pulling something out of the drawer, and it's like, so.
Yeah, it sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if the shift to the cages instead of the wooden drawers is because enough pulls, the glue or whatever's holding those together is eventually going to come off and it's going to collapse, because I've seen some very loose drawers over the past, 20, 30 years I've been cruising. I don't know. I was just kind of thinking of that while you were saying it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can imagine, that or weight. If you're thinking thousands of staterooms, maybe they're saving a lot of weight, but I don't know.
How about the technology in the cabin as far as plugs or anything that might be digital?
The thermostat, was cool. I mean, because you could actually it's a one touch to turn the lights completely off or on. It took us a second to figure out how to turn off the balcony light because there's actually a switch by the bed to turn off the balcony light along with, or I'm sorry, like say if you have the lights on in your room and you want to turn your balcony light off just to be courteous to the people around you, you know what I mean? So I usually try to keep it off unless I'm out there. So I didn't know how to turn it off for like almost 3 days, and I figured out there's a switch by the actual door. But besides that, there's plugs everywhere, you know, European American and USB by the beds. You're not going to be looking for plugs at all.
On deck 12, either above you or below you, were there any noise issues?
I think one time we had children running through the hallway, and that was it. It was not like an abundance of like just noise or anything like that. It was fine.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the food on Icon of the Seas. We'll go to the Windjammer, which is the buffet on Royal Caribbean ships. What did you think of the food, and did it ever feel too crowded for you up there?
We're not really buffet people. I think we went once, didn't we?
I think we went once. It was not ever crowded, though.
It didn't seem like it.
I don't remember ever having to worry about where we sat. But we don't visit the buffet often because I'm not really a fan of buffet food just in general. But we'll usually give it a try once when we're cruising.
Or in a pinch.
Yeah. We've not ever had any issues, though, with seating.
And honestly, that's a theme of this ship, in my opinion, is I just never felt crowded ever. Ever. And I remember sitting in the show and they're like, oh, there's 7,200 people on board. And I was like, where? I never, the only time it feels crowded is, of course, absolute zero when they let them all out through playmakers. And that is a total disaster.
Yeah.
That's an uncomfortable moment. But besides that, everything else is fantastic.
What was the best, I guess we'll call it included dining venue here for y'all?
I got to go Pearl Cafe.
Yeah. We went there quite a few times to get coffee, breakfast, just snack sandwiches sometimes. Let's just get something quick before dinner. Yeah, that was my top favorite for sure.
For included food, Pearl Cafe, in my opinion, is fantastic. It's an improvement on Promenade Cafe beyond all belief. When you go in there, it's just heat up sandwiches type thing, and you don't think it's going to taste really good, but all the food there actually really, really tastes good. I was like surprised how good the food tastes. And we always get the included coffee there because we had a drink package. So
yeah, and the service was quick. So if there was a line of people, we weren't in line very long at all, just minutes. And it seemed like it was going to take forever, but they actually were really quick, I feel like.
For the main dining room, what time dining did you have and how was the experience in there?
Okay, that's an interesting one because we thought we were my time because I had asked my travel agent to get me on early. So the first night we went, we made reservations to go down there, and they look at my seatbelt. They're like, "You're early." So they're like, "Yeah, just go upstairs, and your table's ready." And I was like, "Oh, he must," because he told me he put me on a waiting list, but it actually went through, I guess. So I was actually early time. So we went upstairs and we did early time, and service was fantastic. Yeah, there was just no complaints at all. We had great servers.
Did you sit with a group of people or by yourselves?
We were actually by ourselves, yeah. We've never been sat with anybody in main dining room out of all the cruises we've done, which I don't think it would bother me. I don't know about you.
Because we sat close to a couple, 2 cruises ago. I remember the young couple that was we sat pretty close to them, and we would have a good conversation. Yeah. That was the only time we ever sat close to somebody.
Yeah. So basically, we're not opposed to it, but yeah, it's just never happened for us.
Any specialty venues?
We did Giovanni's and Hooked. As usual, I never have a complaint with Giovanni's. Usually always love the food there. This would be our first time ever doing Hooked. It's the first ship that we were on that had it. You hear a lot of mixed reviews about it, but we really enjoyed it. It's right there in the Aquadome. And, I think the show started while we were...
Yeah.
And crazy enough, I was like, once the show started, somebody had opened the door and it was super loud out there. And I was like, oh my God. As soon as that door closed, the restaurant, you really couldn't hear it at all. You hear a faint noise, but it's... So, I mean, if anybody's really concerned about that, I don't think that's an issue at all.
Is Hooked more of a fast casual or a sit-down dining venue?
Yeah, I would say it's more like a sit-down seafood restaurant. I had lobster, and I think she had like crab cakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Did you buy these a la carte or have a package?
I just did a 2-night Giovanni's +1 pre-cruise. Yeah. And it was pretty cheap. It wasn't, I can't remember how much I paid, but it wasn't outrageous or anything.
What kind of grab and go venues are there around the ship?
We actually went to Park Cafe. We actually didn't even eat there. We ended up walking back out because we were going to try something else. But we did have Base Camp, which I actually thought was really, really good. That's an improvement, in my opinion. Aquadome Marketplace.
Oh, yeah, that one's really good. There's multiple choices you can get. And they were really quick, too. There was pasta, there was Asian food, crepes.
The crepe shop. And there was one more thing. I can't remember what it was.
There's salad.
Yeah.
And it was like grab and go. It was really quick service, but it was really, really good.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. This is something I think they were trying to compete with Carnival with that fast casual food, and I think they hit the mark with that because that's the one thing I could give to Carnival is that, oh my God, they have a lot of fast casual food that you can eat for free, and Royal just said, hold my beer, let me try the same thing, I guess.
Right. Let's talk about the entertainment on board this 7-night cruise. You mentioned kind of the Aqua Theater show was happening while you were eating dinner. What did you think of the entertainment on board? And yeah, give us your thoughts how it played out for the week.
The Aqua show was fantastic. There are parts of that show where my wife had to tell me to be quiet. I was gasping so loud.
This looks dangerous.
It looks so dangerous.
They're on those big wheels and
just jumping and doing jump rope around. I'm like,
they're so acrobatic, but
yeah,
it's so impressive.
It's terrifying for me because I'm just like, oh my God, I just can't imagine. But so that's how entertaining that was, you know. And I'm usually not a person that reacts that way, but she was like, shut up. So that was great. We went to the ice skating show. I love the ice skating shows. Unfortunately for this one, it was just such a long day that I actually fell asleep. So she nudged me because I started snoring to get up. No disrespect to the show. It was great. I was just totally wiped out that day. A lot of time in the sun. That was day 2.
And we didn't get back to it.
Yeah, we never got a chance to go back.
So many different things to do. We never did get back to it.
And then we went and saw Wizard of Oz. My wife will tell you what she thinks of that.
I didn't like it. I usually like all of the shows that we've seen, even Cats. Cats is my favorite. I was just not a fan of Wizard of Oz, and I don't know if it's because we're in Kansas, and I don't really know. I can't quite put my finger on it. I could have really went without not seeing it, honestly.
I honestly couldn't disagree. I wasn't blown away by it like I was with We Will Rock You on Anthem. I enjoyed Grease on Harmony. And even the second half of Cats I thought was amazing. First half put me to sleep, but that second half was great. Wizard of Oz, the technology, everything is great. And I'm not saying not go see it. Absolutely go see it. You know, in that sense, for free entertainment, it's fantastic. But like I said, yeah, as far as their Broadway shows, I probably wouldn't put it at the top of the list.
What about other shows that weren't Wizard of Oz?
And then we saw the Effectors show, which we actually liked that one. That was pretty good. It was a cute show, I think. Technology and drones and whatnot. Not a huge drone present. There's just a small section with it, but everything else I thought was really cool with that.
Are reservations required at these shows?
Yeah, you make a reservation in the app, and that just get you in the door initially. But if you didn't make a reservation, just show up early and like 30 minutes early and wait in the standby line. I think, in my opinion, I bet you everybody gets seated. I don't think they ever turn anybody away. It's just after all those reservations come in, they just open it up to everybody.
I want to talk about sea days as far as crowds and congestion. Now, a few minutes ago, you said the ship never felt crowded. So did that also stand true on the sea days when it came to people, trying to get food, go to the shows, go to the pool, etc.?
Honestly, just didn't feel, like the seesaw directly around the pool obviously are full of people. There's chair hogs. That's always going to be a thing, I guess. We like to get up early in the morning, go hang out in the hot tubs. We found a nice little quiet spot for a hot tub, and then we had somebody who wanted to do some public singing, which was weird.
Yeah. We left.
So we had to leave because this girl started belting out Whitney Houston, and we're like, okay, I guess we're going to go somewhere else.
It was too early, Chris.
Yeah, it was way too early. So, but that was the only time that, it was a little swim and tonic, though. I will say that place gets packed.
It gets packed, but we still found seats.
Yeah, we absolutely found seats. Yeah,
in the water, not close to the bar, but.
Yeah, we were right in the water. But the actual water there and right next to the bar, it's packed with people. But you can still, swim up and grab a drink, no problem. It's just a popular bar. But we hung out The only day we went to Hideaway, it was actually a port day. I think most times it was pretty crowded, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. We never had any issues getting even up to the bar to get a drink.
Never.
Anywhere we went, we were able to get seating.
Yeah.
There was no walking through a big crowd even.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you hung out at the Hideaway on a port day, how would you explain that area?
That's the adult section that they put on the back of the ship with the infinity pool. And on the side there, they got a bar that you can walk up to. And they got restrooms back there and everything. So, yeah, it's just its own little tucked away area for the adults.
How was the casino as far as the smoke situation in and around it?
I have never smelled smoke or anything when we've been in the casinos.
Nice.
Oh, you in the real casino?
No.
Oh, wow.
And it would bother me because I'm not around any smokers. So it's never been an issue ever.
I would say this casino, I noticed the same thing. Like when I would come back, I'd actually smell my clothes. And I didn't really smell smoke on it again. So in my opinion, I'm a former smoker. I don't think it could be that bad because usually when I come out of somewhere where there's been smoking and I smell my shirt, I'm like, oh my God, it's just filled with smoke. And I never really got that sense with this casino.
It is funny sometimes how it could be the same class of ship, but it handles smoke differently as far as getting rid of it. Ports of call, you leave Miami. What was your first one?
St. Martin. That we basically booked a resort on, I think it was Resort Pass or something. We went to, what's that one right next to Maho Beach? Morgan Resort. We weren't very impressed with it, to be honest with you. There was no service or anything, which, fine. They saved me a lot of money. I was willing to spend, but, there was nobody coming around asking for drinks. I had to go get our first drinks or whatever. And it just really wasn't it didn't feel like a welcoming place for day guests. It seems like they cater to their actual residents or people that are staying there.
So once you were over the resort that you booked, did you go watch the planes land since you were that close or back to the ship?
After a while, we said, oh, let's go grab a bite to eat. So we walked over. It's right walking distance from the Sunset. What's that called? Sunset Bar?
Sunset Bar and Grill.
At
yeah.
Maho Beach. So we sat down there, got some drinks, and ate. And funny enough, watching those planes come in was just so entertaining, which I thought it would be cool for a second or two, but we spent quite a while there.
You could have sat there the whole day. We should have just went there from the jump, but it was actually really cool. Really cool to see those.
It was way more entertaining than I thought it would be. So we sat there and watched the planes coming in, and we got a couple of selfies, watching people getting sandblasted and thrown in the water.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were having a blast.
What was up after St. Martin?
After that, we went to St. Thomas. It was the very next day, St. Thomas. We got off the ship, and it turned out we were going to take the ferry through Royal Caribbean over to St. John, but the ferry had or boat. I don't know if it's a ferry or boat, but it had had mechanical issues. So they said it wouldn't be coming back till 10:30.
Yeah, a couple hours, and then it was going to come back and get us.
Yeah.
They give us the option, though, to cancel if we wanted to, which is what we did. We canceled and walked around for a short time and got back on the ship.
Yeah. So we just decided to cancel. They're about to have their carnival, so they're having a big tasting and music festival right there at the cruise port, a sampling of it. And we walked around a little bit, a lot of, crafts and whatnot there. And then we got on the ship, and then we spent the whole day back at the Hideaway on the back of the ship, which was great because it was completely empty. We're the only two people there for almost an hour and a half or so. And then some people started pouring in later, but yeah, we had a great time.
Have you ever tried to go over to St. John's by yourself, not doing a cruise ship excursion?
No, this is our only second time in St. Thomas. Okay. And this was going to be our first time going to St. John's. So I wanted to try it through the ship first. And of course that flunked. Yeah. And it was sort of crazy because it was a short day in St. Thomas anyway, because I think we're leaving by 2:30. It was going to be tight anyway. So once they said, oh, we'll be back in that 2 hours, I'm like, it's not even worth going over there.
Yeah. You're back on the ship. You spend the rest of the day in the Hideaway. Where did you go to next?
That was a sea day, and then back at Coco Key. We've been there before. We've always liked it. This time was our first time going to, again, the Hideaway, which is on the version on Coco Key, which is an added cost adult experience. which I think we both like very much.
Fun, yeah. They had little things in the pool, like the table, like
table tennis,
and like beer pong, but it was floating, and it was small enough for just like 2 people to play it. So we had fun.
Yeah,
and the pool wasn't that crowded. I mean, we were always up at the bar, or there's multiple bars. We can just walk right up and swim along. It really wasn't that crowded, I don't feel like.
It wasn't. And funny enough, we had a lure there with us. So you have 2 mega ships there, and they were on a 3-night cruise. And you could definitely tell who was Allure and who was Icon because they were living it up.
I'm sure.
A couple of moments where the crew had to get involved because some people were exposing parts of their bodies they shouldn't have.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, so they calmed it all down and everything was, back to normal. But, yeah, they were definitely partying. It was a great time. I mean, there was nothing, bad happening. But, yeah, obviously you can't have that. And then we had a medical emergency towards the end of the day. And then they actually told everybody to get out of the pool. They said the water was compromised. Oh, not sure what that meant, but we got out of that water.
It was towards the end of the day anyway.
Yeah.
Like we probably would have only had an hour left there.
Yeah, I think
that everybody had to get out. So we ended up just going back to the ship.
What is the food situation like at the Hideaway if you buy that day pass on Perfect Day?
They had pizza. There was like a stand that had pizza, burgers, sticks.
And I think there's 2 separate eating areas, correct? Mm-hmm. And we only ate at one. I guess one was like pizzas and stuff, and separate. The other one was like burgers or whatever. But we ate. No complaints with the food, but
it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Fast, quick little fast food. Yeah, but it was good. The drinks were good. They had the stands also out where you could just get like juice or water.
People everywhere. It was great.
Is Hideaway Beach, is that capacity controlled?
I would assume it would have to be, and I think I've heard that before, that it sells out. I don't think it's unlimited. If you see a price that you're willing to pay, I would definitely get it if you know there's going to be more than one ship in port.
All right, so you make your way back to PortMiami the next day, and it's time to debark one of the world's largest cruise ships. How was the debark process for you, and could you tell you were debarking the ship with that many people?
I don't feel like you could. I mean,
it was way less uncomfortable than any other. Most ships, I always do assisted luggage or whatever. It just seems like they put us in the pub, and there wasn't a lot of people in there.
No.
Because like when I saw we're in the pub, I was like, oh God, that's going to be horrible. But it wasn't a lot of people in there.
A couple other tables, really.
It seemed like
and we only waited, 15 minutes. It seemed like
they called our number.
Yeah.
And obviously when we get up in the morning, we go grab breakfast, and then we get up and, grab our stuff and we head out. It's not like we ran down there early in the morning, so I can't remember what time we were supposed to get off. I thought it was like 9 something. They said they were going to call our number. So, yeah, we just sat in the pub for like 15 minutes, and then next thing you know, they called our number. And walking off, it just seemed like we never stopped walking, and then we're gone.
Mm-hmm. It was very quick.
Because the ship has so many bars, restaurants, things to do, I'm just curious, and if your answer is not the same, you could tell me, the best meal for this sailing, where was that found?
I like going to the dining room. I think every food option that I had in there was really good. Excuse me. I always looked to see what it was first, and I think that one was my favorite.
For me, I think Hooked. I like what I ordered. Let me double back on that. I'm gonna go with Giovanni's again because this is the first time I got their pizza. Their pizza was really good. So I would go with Giovanni's. Second would be Hooked. But absolutely, main dining room was always great. And, no issues with it. I enjoyed it.
Were there any quiet places on board? We'll call them maybe hidden spaces where there just weren't a lot of crowds on a sea day?
The part that, for me, it was around where the Aqua Theater was, but it was around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of little hidden where you could just look out the ship and there was little trees and stuff, and it just felt very
peaceful.
Yeah. And there's even a swing in there. Where the swing was, I sat down in there too.
Yeah, there is.
It was just very comfortable.
There's couches.
Yeah,
I forgot what the name of that is. It's in the Aquadome. It's right in front of the Aqua Theater area. Mm-hmm. I cannot remember.
And there was never really a lot of people in there.
There wasn't a lot of people. The little pods that they have, there was usually people in there because they're just private areas. So people usually take those up. But as far as all the other seating areas, there's plenty. And it's very nice and calm up there.
But there was multiple, even up by that where they do the comedy show. You walk along.
Yes.
There's multiple like 2-seaters there that it was just very quiet and a little darker even. And there was hardly ever people in there.
Yep.
Just sitting.
Yeah.
It was multiple spots where you could just go by yourself if you wanted to, like read a book or something.
Yeah, like I said, with 7,200 people on, I could not tell. I was astonished that there was that many people on there.
Those little pods are awesome. They introduced those back in, I believe it was on Anthem or Quantum of the Seas 10 or 12 years ago. And I've been hooked on those things ever since. They're just fun. The little pods are. If you can grab it early enough.
Right. Yeah. They are. They look really peaceful. Any
first-time tips for someone who might be considering doing Icon of the Seas, or I guess even Star of the Seas, since they're the same?
Yeah, for me personally, and she's going to laugh at this, I will say there are some public areas that are very warm on this ship. So keep that in mind. If you're a person who sweats or something, maybe bring something with you to wipe your head off. There was a couple times where I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to, sweat to death. And then you'll go to certain parts of the ship, nice and cool. Some parts are cold. So the temperature regulation is sort of interesting on that ship. But everything else, it's fantastic. One thing I do notice about the Absolute Zero, I noticed that the side doors that open up to the promenade, they don't use those and they don't say emergency exit. I'm not sure why that is, but I wish when the show's let out, I wish they would just funnel people out onto the promenade instead of funneling them through playmakers. I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind that.
Absolute Zero, is that the ice rink?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Makes sense. Looking back, what was the biggest highlight of this cruise for y'all?
Mine was we went to karaoke a lot this time.
Oh, yeah.
For some reason, we usually don't do karaoke that often because it's so popular.
It's usually packed, yeah.
But this time, we were always able to get seats. We went to so many karaoke shows. I don't know why. I just wanted to go to all of them. The very last one was the competition where they sang with the band. It was so entertaining. I felt like I was watching like real celebrity singers. Yeah. They were just all so good and sang with the band. And it was just, I think it was our last night.
It was the last night.
For the main prize. And it was just so good. I really, really liked it this time. And I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, they did the final karaoke in the music hall. There was this woman from Utah that sang I Will Survive. And it was the most entertaining karaoke performance I've ever seen in my life. She was so good. And I mean, she had the whole ship rocking. She was fantastic. And all the other people were great too. It was good.
Did you see the girl from the hot tub in there?
No.
we actually thought about that.
She didn't make the cut.
she didn't make the cut, obviously. But for me, highlight, there's so many. We genuinely love the ship. So, like, typically after a 7-night cruise, we're typically ready to get off. We're like, oh yeah, we always have a great time. But by that 7th day, you're like, yeah, I'm ready to go home. This one, we're like, no, I wish I could stay a little longer, do an 8 or 9-nighter, And so that's just a testament to how good that ship is, how well the crowds are spread out. I never had an issue getting a drink. We had the drink package. You could just walk into a bar and grab a drink. And we're not like crazy alcoholics or anything. We don't just drink, 60 drinks a day or anything. But whenever you feel like having a drink, you can go get one. So the highlight was just the ability to spread those crowds out and, just make it a good time. We showed up like maybe 20 to 30 minutes early for the dueling pianos. That and the comedy shows are the two shows that actually pack up. And we showed up like 20 minutes early. We had a table right in the front. We sat there, had a couple drinks, and the show started. So there was no issues like being seated for entertainment or, sometimes you have those karaoke's and you have people all standing out in the promenade, which you still have here, but those people just, have to come by later and just be like, oh, I want to see this. But yeah, if you wanted to see something, it's no problem just sitting down and, enjoying it.
All right, let's do final thoughts of the ship. Tiffany, you can go first.
This one is my favorite. We just did Alaska, was our last one, and that one was my favorite. But now, Icon is absolutely my favorite. If it's on your bucket list, you have to do it. It's just so big. It's just so beautiful. I mean, everything about it. We didn't get to do everything we wanted to do. It's just so much to do. And I feel I do take something for motion sickness, but I feel like on this one, I wouldn't have had to. It just
it was one rocky day. Yeah.
But it was perfect. It's my favorite so far.
For me, I would say leading up to this cruise, I was slightly annoyed at the price I paid to get on this ship. And then after we did this, I was like, okay, it was worth it. Which is surprising because I was like, oh, God, this is just so much. Why am I paying this much? But, I just sort of wanted to, see it and experience it. And I will say it was worth it. That doesn't mean that Royal should go raise their prices anymore. But, it definitely is worth it. So if you're on the fence about it and you don't like the price, maybe think twice about that and say, hey, I'll, go out on a limb and, go experience it because it definitely is worth it.
We've been talking with Michael and Tiffany about their 7-night cruise on Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas out of PortMiami to the Eastern Caribbean. Michael, Tiffany, good talking to you, and thanks for sharing your review with us.
Anytime, Doug. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dougie, let's see what we got for you, buddy. Cruise Radio is produced at the tripinsurance.com studios in Jacksonville, Florida. Get cruise news, ship reviews, and money-saving tips every Thursday on Cruise Radio. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show. If you want to help spread the word, give Cruise Radio a 5-star review. Find Cruise Radio where you listen to your favorite podcast or online at cruiseradio.net. I'm your announcer,